Good morning. I am John McLean, and it's the delight of my life that I get to speak words of truth, words that have helped me heal my life. And that's why we are here. I am here because Reverend Liz is not. Lucky her as well, and thank you. And I am here also because as Mahalia Jackson used to sing, my God is real. And I have had the pleasure, because I've dedicated myself to this work, of seeing what answered prayer looks like. When Shelley just sang this song, Have No Fear, we know that mostly from the story in the Bible when the angel appears to the shepherds, yes, and says, fear not. Here's why you can live a life where you do not fear. Because the teaching is that within you is everything you need to create the life you say you want. Within you is everything you need to create the life that you say you want. Not that anybody else wants, not that I want, not that what your parents want, or any institution outside of yourself, but that which you know is best and right and true for you. It is already there. The activities and the experiences of life tend to sometimes gang up on us, and we feel that that is not the truth. So we gather on Sundays, or whenever it is we are in our practice, we gather to remember that all shall be well, if you insist on it. You know, I was listening to your announcements. I heard what you said when you said that Mary Manon Morrissey has a class and that you will experience a fuller life if you do the work. I heard that loud and clear because as somebody who has had the privilege of being in as a civilian since 1985 and as an ordained minister for the last 25 years, that doing the work is what is really required. You know, I was attracted to unity because of the 5 basic principles. Does anybody know the 5 basic principles? I won't ask you to raise your hand because I might forget 1 or 2 of them my darn self right now. But there is one thing that's happening, and it is God. It is the creative principle of the universe that is happening and expressing as creation everywhere, including you. And there is that of God in you. This is a revelation of George Fox, who created the Quaker work, the work of the Friends, that there is that of God in all. And the way to access that truth, that power, that energy, that reality is through prayer and meditation. So get busy, right? Get busy. There is within you everything you need to have the life that you say you want. And because I was needy, hurting, whatever you want to say, between a hard rock and a hard place, I gave myself to this work, and I am blessed to know that I have proven the principle. These 5 principles and prayer, such as we understand it, are what I like to call a way of working. There is no situation that's going to come up and encounter you that you will encounter. There is no situation that you cannot handle. And you handle it by knowing what is yours to do and by having the confidence that you can do it, and that principle, such as it is, the God of your understanding, cannot abandon you, not even in times of real trial. It may seem like it, but if we work any situation, we can always ask ourselves, why am I having such a hard time with this? And I have found in my own life, it's usually because I am still holding on to some fantasy. And for me, a fantasy is an outcome which I am not willing to be a part of. A fantasy is hoping, praying, wishing and hoping. Do you know that song? Wishing and hoping, and we'll do that next time. Okay. Of wishing and Dusty Springfield. Of wishing and hoping and thinking and praying that somebody is going to come and do it for me. And what we have found is that in our lives, Superman ain't coming. Neither Batman nor Robin live in Santa Fe. They will not show up. Or any of the X-Men and women. It's going to be up to you to create the life you say you want. And you can do it. And you know, the pleasure and the privilege of my job, and I know that Reverend Liz feels the same, is that we get to know that for you. We get to know that with you. That's what the prayer practice is. Here's another song. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. Right? Ask for prayer support when you need it until you can pray on your own. I came into Unity through Eric Butterworth's church in New York City. And he had an expression which some people don't like. But I don't care, really, about that. Because when we ask somebody to pray, and, you know, I worked at Silent Unity. I have prayed for tens of thousands of people in my life. But that is, as Butterworth would have said, having somebody else pray with you is training wheels. You can't learn to ride a bike unless you have training wheels, right? Or unless you have somebody, a parent or a guardian with a firm hand who's going to hold on to that back seat if you don't have training wheels while you are learning to do it yourself. And when you learn to do it yourself, you experience freedom. I remember so clearly getting my first big boy bike. Does anybody remember that? And because it meant freedom, right? It meant freedom. It was almost the first step into an adult life. And when you become skilled at praying, about learning to know the truth in the way that makes sense to you, all the way under the tree in the far back corner, in a way that makes sense to you, in words and in imagery and in feelings that make sense to you, that prove the presence of God, you will know freedom. Now, you know, the other principles, I named 3 of them, I guess. And the other 2 are we live in a world of cause and effect, that life will be to us what we are to it. You know, there are 100,000 expressions about you get out of life what you put into it. Just a million expressions in every culture of every time. But life will be to you what you are to it. And the 5th basic principle is that it is not enough to know the truth, but we must live it. Do I have to? No, you don't have to. If you want to be a sad sack and neurotic and always hold everybody else responsible for your experience of life, no, you don't have to. And you know what? Who knows about this incarnation? I don't know. Who knows why we're here? This is a tough incarnation on planet Earth. And if you don't get it right this time, maybe you come back. I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you learn your mistakes from your mistakes on the other side. I know there's another side. But if you want to have a healed experience of life, an adult, at long last, an adult non-neurotic experience of life, you've got to have an adult idea about the nature of God. You have to. Or else you will always have an excuse. Always. Oh, it's God's will. Or I was raised Catholic, and I liked it. In the 50s and 60s, it was fun to be Catholic in New York. But it was like, was that so funny? Are you all from New York? Anybody else here? No. Oh, well, it was mostly Catholics and Jews in New York, so it was, normal. But, oh darn, now I've gone far afield and I forgot my point. Oh yeah, being raised Catholic was like whenever things are really horrible, you have to offer it up for the poor souls in purgatory. And even in the catechism, it was, why did God make you? God made me to know, love, and serve him in this world so I would be happy with him in the next. And that doesn't work for me. God, why did God make me? If God was like a person. To know, love, and experience the glory and the joy and the power of this astonishing experience we call life. This is a gift and a rare privilege as well to actually get to be here. And to know that, I think it's in the Episcopalian catechism, that what does it mean to be made in the image and likeness of God? It means to be able to make choices, to choose to live in accord with God's law, with principle, with nature. And I go, dude, that's grown-up adult. I can work with that. And I invite you to find the way to work with that, which is through some kind of prayer practice, any kind of prayer practice. And the kind that we have here is a fabulous way to learn, ultimately, to practice the presence of God. That may seem a little ethereal or too poetic to be useful. But here's the thing. The thing is that to the degree that we are willing to do the work, to commit to some kind of practice, and again, I'm not going to tell you that it has to be every day or it has to look like anything. You figure it out. You figure it out. But to find some way to really get that, my life is going to be what I determine it to be. And stuff will happen. For sure, right? Stuff will happen. And it's hard. But the first time I had a glimmer that I might be maturing spiritually, because I don't know how mature I am in other ways, but spiritually, I realized that if something is hard, it doesn't make it bad. Just as if something is easy, it doesn't make it good. No doubt you've had an easy job in your life. Probably wasn't the best one you ever had. The best jobs you have are the ones that really demand of us to bring our full selves to it and to assume some responsibility with authority that maybe we have in a relationship as well. Same thing, right? To bring our full selves. A hard relationship isn't necessarily a bad one. Yeah, as an easy relationship isn't necessarily life-enhancing. It's just easy. I never was seeking to have a life where I could phone it in, where I would go through the day and at least at some point say, my God, that is the glory right there. And one of the great privileges of living here, you know, when you watch the sunset on these mountains, if you don't see the face of God, I'll put you on my prayer list. Because really, it's right in front of us all the time. As are you, as are all of you, right? And that's Surely the Presence, a song I had at church in Nashville, Tennessee, and we used to sing that for way too many years, but it was the every Sunday thing. And you know, if I do, what am I looking for if I don't see God in you? One of the aphorisms of Ralph Waldo Emerson is, how shall I not see God in every face I meet? How can I not? It's because you're looking for the wrong thing, is how you cannot. So I invite you to start looking for the right thing, to have a practice of your choice, and you can learn a practice that changed my life by participating with your prayer chaplains here, being part of the work of this ministry, developing your own prayer work. Not so much that you will get everything that you want. When I started out, there was an expression in work is that if you help, for ministers, that if you help people get what they want, you'll get what you want. That sounds nice. But you know, in retrospect, that's a low-value aspiration. That is a low-value aspiration. And my spirituality requires that I have high ideals. My life requires that I have high ideals, even though I fall short. My sobriety requires that I have high ideals. And the high ideal, the high value for your life would be not what you would get, what you would want, or that this, cup that I cannot bear would pass me, because maybe it won't. But that you can go through life facing each day with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit. That no matter what you encounter along the way, no matter what loss comes to us, that you will always be aware of, in the face of all loss, we are still endowed with an embarrassment of riches as long as we are here. These are high-value aspirations. And the high-value aspiration that I would hope for is that you would not get what you want necessarily, but if our work here can help you love who you are, then that would be reward enough for me. I thank you for, Reverend Liz, for your gracious invitation to be here today. It's a rare privilege to always get to share what I love and to teach what I know. And what I know is that practice makes progress, for sure. And I will meet you on the road somewhere, no doubt. God bless you, friends. Thank you for your invitation.